Today we're talking about a legendary band that's been through a lot of changes over the years. A lot of ups and downs, as many of the greats do. We're talking about a band called Heart.
Those axe-wielding, scalping witches.
I like them. And if you're watching this, you probably like them too. So welcome. Yeah. And it's funny, so when we decided that we were going to do Heart, obviously I knew a lot of Heart's music.
Yes.
But I didn't really know too much of their story.
Me neither.
So it's been really fun for me to like dive in and learn more about them.
Yeah.
And this shit goes deep.
Yeah, it really
There's
does.
a lot more into this than I even realized. So like, where do you want to start?
All the way at the beginning with Ed and Nancy, like them as like little budding singers. Why not?
Yeah. So they grew up in a military family.
Yeah.
So they were bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
And I heard an interview with their mom that I thought was really interesting. That she was basically like, yeah, like when they were like really small, we were all over the place. We were in Panama, we were in Japan, we were blah, 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 blah. And there was no music there for us.
Right.
So we made our own.
Yeah. That's the way you got to do it sometimes.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, you want to do something? You make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From like a very young age.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
And they're bouncing around. And Anne, well, there was three sisters.
Right.
But
Lynn,
the two in the band were Anne and
Nancy. Yeah.
So Anne got mono. And she was out of school for a couple weeks. And their mom was like, all right, well, I don't want you to go absolutely crazy being stuck in the house for 3 weeks, so I'm going to buy you a guitar.
Yep.
And she didn't really take to it that much.
No, she didn't. She didn't take to it that much, but somebody else did. And that was little bitty Nancy.
Little whiz fingers Nancy.
Oh, man. She
just
took it over and she just like killed it more than somebody had actually bought Nancy her own little guitar, but she said that she had problems with the strings. They were too hard to tune. So already she was like that small and already just adept at like these strings suck, like, and so she took to Anne's guitar still. So she just wanted hers. And then it just like, she said she used to sleep with a guitar. Like that's how much in love she was with it. And it obviously was in love with her too. Like, just the guitar itself, its aura, its spirit that lives in it.
Yeah. So basically their mom bought it for Anne. Anne was like, eh. And Nancy's like,
yeah.
Oh my God. And by the way, the falling asleep with the guitar thing, I've done that a few times.
That's a wonderful thing.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
I've just been playing in my bed and then I'll wake up like hours later and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. That's great. She was like, it was like my first boyfriend. Aw.
I feel that.
I wonder what his name was.
My guitar's named Stacy. Maybe hers was named
Jerome. Maybe Dancy. It was named Dancy. It was
Nancy. It liked to dance?
It was Nancy and Dancy, her guitar.
Well, that's beautiful. I love that. So Nancy was like guitar player extraordinaire from the beginning. She was like, yes, this is what I want to do. This connects with me.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. Apparently, she used to stutter really bad.
Yeah.
And she was able to kind of overcome that while singing.
Yeah.
Which I always think is real interesting. Because it's literally like, I mean, you're still using your voice and your throat, but it's just different parts of your brain.
Right. And there was no real pressure. I think she just had more control as the singer, and there's no real pressure to impress anybody when you already know you have a good voice. I think she knew that from the beginning. And she mainly said like she used to stutter when she was in front of somebody that was really popular, or when it was like the first day of school or like a dance, or she had to pick up the phone, anything where she had to be like on like right away. That's where she had the problem stuttering. But with her talent, like, she didn't feel that pressure because it was like the talent was hers. It was a part of her.
Right. It just was it was part of her. So she didn't feel like she had to be putting anything on or like doing any kind of thing. It's like, this is just what I have.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool because, when you think of like rock bands, like the two big things you think of is like the guitar player and the singer.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden here you have, they're not even close to being grown adults yet. And you already kind of have the basis of a rock band.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they weren't even really thinking about that at the time.
No, they just liked singing, you know, and they did it together, you know, and that's just all really what it was.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. So we're stepping forward and we've got the guitar and Anne likes to sing. But, you know, and that's her only thing because she doesn't really like school because she's not like, you know, super popular in school and stuff like that. Yeah. But in school, what all the girls kind of did like in school were the biggest band at the time that appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show and kind of made a dance.
Never heard of them. I don't know. The roaches?
I think, yeah.
The insects?
The scarab, the moths, the flames.
The Fabulous 10? There was 10 of them, right?
There was 10.
Yeah.
All those kids in one family.
They were from London? Or Belgium? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Hamburg. It is really crazy. Like it's so interesting. Like they come up so much in all of these stories. They
do. They really, really do. I'm like, everybody watched that show. Every 70s rocker watched that show, that episode.
Yeah, literally every Tom Petty was the big one, the other one that we did, but everybody, it seems like everybody that watched the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show was like, I want to do that.
Exactly. And
it was really cool because that was one of the first self-contained bands of like they're writing and performing their own stuff.
Yeah.
Because the music industry for so long before that was like you would have the performer and you would have the writer. It wasn't always the same person.
Correct.
And I think that is just as influential as the actual music was.
Yeah.
They're like, this is all them.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could do that with some of my buddies.
Because,
you know, they're just some kids from fucking Liverpool. Like, Liverpool is not even like a big city. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's really interesting how that kind of really was a spark for so many things.
Yeah, and had like tremendous effect on them. Like Anne was saying, they grew up on a military base, so people that had hair past their ears was just like strange to them. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And what made Anne and Nancy different from all the other girls in their school who just would scream when they saw them was that they wanted to hear what they were singing. They didn't want to like be their girlfriends. They would play games with each other at school with the girls and they'd be like, all right, we're going to be the Beatles. So, you know, Nancy, I think she was always Paul and and Anne was always John. And she was like, I'm going to be John. And they'd ask the other girls and the other girls would be like, what? I want to be John's cool girlfriend, like, and I would like, I want to be his wife, like, and they were like, oh God,
they weren't interested in like the personalities of it. They were like, oh, I like the music, and that's really going to be the recurring theme throughout this episode is that it's all about the music. That's the only thing that really fucking matters, and that's going to come up a lot. So yeah, they were bouncing around, military family, military brats, as they say. I don't know why that's the term. It seems kind of rude. Right?
Yeah, I don't know,
but that's not really here or there. So they end up in Seattle. And obviously now they're a little older. They're able to like really like kind of find themselves. And Anne obviously wanted to be in a band. So she answered a newspaper article of a band that was looking for a singer. And this is gets really interesting. I did not know that they didn't start Heart.
Right.
Like, I thought that it was always their band.
Yeah.
But it's not, because she joined up with these other guys. What was it? It was Roger Fisher.
Yes.
Steve something on bass. I don't remember his last name.
Right.
And then Michael something on drums. Like DeBrozier or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve, I want to say Fossend. I want to say that's the last name. But
yeah.
But, so they started out, and she was the lead singer of that particular group. And so they toured. Well, they didn't really tour yet, but they were doing like little shows.
Yeah. And what they said was that when she came into audition, they were kind of immediately just like, oh, yep, this is it.
Yeah.
They're like, there's something here.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So, but during this time, Nancy's in college.
Yeah.
So she's like totally out of the picture. Like Anne's with this band. They're doing little tours in, the South, or not South, North. What are directions? Northwest. But Nancy isn't even like known to the rest of the band. It's just like they know Anne, she's the singer.
Yeah.
So they're going, and she's really like finding her voice as they're touring as well.
Yeah.
Like obviously she was already able to sing, but they said at some point, I saw an interview with Roger. He was like, yeah, at one point, you know, we were toured, we were doing this same song that we do every single night, but then at one point she was just hitting it. And I just looked over, I was like, oh my God. And then like ever since then, she was like, that was it. And then she even said, she was like, yeah, like I really like found it like within, you know, myself at that time.
Yeah.
Which I always think is really interesting because, like, sometimes you can really hear that. And it's interesting, like, it takes different people different lengths of time to, like, really find their voice.
Right.
Like, when we reacted to all those Steely Dan albums, check out our reactions on YouTube.
Ding, ding.
We did 7 reactions to 7 Steely Dan albums.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were thinking in, like, the 3rd or 4th album, we were like, oh, this is where he finds his voice.
Right. Yeah.
But she found her voice before even recording an album.
Right. Yeah. She found it before, and it's like all of a sudden, like even just being at recording studios, people wanted to put her on B-sides of like country tracks and things like that, just like asking her to join in. And like she obviously, if you haven't heard her voice, go hear it. She's got a beautiful voice, and like I can just imagine hearing something like that for the first time and just knowing like I'm glad I know her. Like, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
She sings so great. This is gonna kind of sound like a diss, but I don't mean this as a diss. I feel like she sings how Robert Plant wishes he could sing.
Well, you know
what I mean?
Well, they were calling them Baby Zeppelin for a while because they did so many Baby Zeppelin covers that they were saying that, and like, you know, Anne would figure out how to sing like Robert, and even Nancy was playing like Jimmy, so they were doing some good amount of covers. They actually were playing at a place where Zeppelin actually came in and walked and performed, but
oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
they didn't
sick.
really get to pay them any attention because they went off into the private, you know, the real stars room.
Yeah.
And the male members of the band were able to talk to Robert, and I remember Anne saying she wanted to talk to Jimmy, but he was nowhere to be found, and he was also being tended to by his doctor.
Right. I had a feeling that's where that was going. Jimmy's had some problems, but so they're toured in the Northwest, and now Roger's brother comes into the picture.
The draft dodger.
So this is really interesting. I didn't know this at all. So Roger's brother was drafted, and he was like, fuck that.
I'm out.
He dipped right to Canada.
That's right.
And I was thinking about that. Like, it's so crazy to think that was not even so long ago. There was a time where you would just open your mail and you'd be like, fuck, I'm going to war.
Yeah.
And especially, it's like, for that war, it's like, fuck. Like, if I lived that close to the border, I'd probably just fucking go right over the border. Like,
I think so, too.
Fuck that. So that's what he did.
That's what he did. And the trade-off was pretty good. If you see Roger's property, like if you look at the video, that's some Boku shit.
Yeah. He had some land. He was doing all right. But at one point, he was like, I'm going to sneak back in just to see my brother's band, which is kind of wild. Honestly, just that. You're risking your years of jail to do that.
That is called, I'm just going to leave that up to young and dumb. That's definitely that's some kid shit, some young adult, like 20s, early 20s shit that you just do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
he's like, I know I'm a fugitive, but like I heard my brother's band is pretty good. So like I'm going to see what this is all about. So he hops back down over the border and he sees the band, and him and Anne see each other and are just immediately like,
zoom.
I'm in love.
Yeah.
So obviously Michael can't live in America.
No.
He has to go back. So basically Anne's like, well, I'm coming with you.
Yes, she definitely did. Like she walks in, she said to the band, and she was just like, I'm sorry. Like, but do you see this guy? He's great. Like,
he's a magic man.
He's a magic man. And that's actually who the song was written about. Like, you know, and even to her mom's conversation, because her mom was like, she ends up going to Canada, staying with Michael. And like, even her mom was on the phone and like asking, you know, when she's going to see her and stuff like that. And she was just like, Mom, no. This guy's got a river running through his property.
Yeah,
I'm staying. But the mom says, she's like, I don't know if I said exactly all that, but that's how she saw it in her mind. And that's what she put into the song. Well, you have to kind of embellish with a song, mama.
Yeah,
so,
that's where the fun is.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear a boring-ass conversation in a song.
She said, baby, come home. I said, no. That doesn't really sound good.
End song. 5 seconds. But yeah, so then they're living up there, and he's got like a beautiful property in like the woods, and it's like so idyllic and isolated, and they're just, you know, living with each other and just loving each other, blah, 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 blah.
I think blue jays bake them pies on Fridays. I think that's what they say.
And you can see the scent wafting into their nostrils, and they fly over to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've heard as well. So then the rest of the band is like, well, why don't we just fucking go there with her? Because obviously she's really the big talent of the band.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that other people weren't talented in the band.
Yeah,
but
because Roger was killing it on the strings. On the guitar.
Yeah. They were all good.
Yeah,
you don't... A successful band isn't just one person.
Correct.
That's called a solo act.
Yes.
So, but they were just like, all right, well, clearly this has been working out, this heart shit, so we're not just going to stop it. She's only like 10 miles away, like, or however far. It's not very far.
Not very far.
So they just moved the band to Canada. And then around this time, Anne's kind of like, you know what this band could use? My sister.
A Nancy.
Yeah. And it's really funny. I heard Nancy saying, like, you know, like I said before, she was in college at the time. I don't remember where she went to college. I think California somewhere.
Oregon.
Basically
California.
Yeah, wherever. Somewhere on the West Coast.
I know it's right above.
It's all the same shit, okay? It's not New York. So she was like away, and she said, I always knew that we were going to be in a band together, so I wanted to have a few years to like live my own life without my older sister.
Without Anne. Oh my gosh. Anne, were you overbearing? Is that why Nancy said this?
So she's just like, all right, well, I've had my time. I'm ready to go rejoin my sister.
Yeah.
So she comes in, and the thing that's so cool about them is that like their talent levels are like equal in their respective fields. Yeah. Like she's such a great singer and she's such a great guitarist that I could only imagine that once she came into the band, they were just like, holy shit. like for real, this has been your sister this whole time? You didn't tell us about this?
Right? It's like gold right then. You just know, I'm sure. Like you got something great going on.